It is now August 1st, and that means July is over, and another month means another movie ranking, and I'm going to rank all 3 July 2025 movie releases that I watched, ranked from the worst to the best. And coming in last place, we have Jaws at 50, the definitive inside story. And just to be clear, this is still a very good movie. This is still a very good movie, but simply because it is a documentary, and a very good one, but because it's a documentary, it's just not really something I'd be keen to like rewatch. Like I've seen it once and I'm like, oh, that was interesting. And then a lot of the stuff too, I also already knew a lot of it. But that being said, it was still a very, very well-made documentary. And I definitely recommend if you're even the littlest fan of Jaws, even if you care just a little bit, to definitely watch it because it's still a very well-made documentary. And it is good, but just because of the fact that it is a documentary, it is like not really, it doesn't really have a traditional story. Like it has its story on how it was made. Steven Spielberg being this young director who didn't really have any say in the project. This was basically his make or break project. And I mean, we all know how it went. But yeah, there's not really much maybe that you wouldn't have already known. If you know even a little bit of the behind the scenes, at least I knew quite a bit, some of the behind the scenes. So, but that being said, I still definitely recommend checking it out if you care. But there are just other better movies on the list. And coming in second place, we have Superman. Now, I really, really liked this movie, but I just didn't really love it. I still really liked it, but the reason what stops this from being at the number one spot for me is I think it just had some serious pacing problems. I think that it went by way too fast. I think that they either should have added like an extra maybe 20, maybe 15, 20, maybe 30 minutes, made it just a little bit longer, or just I wish it just took more time, because this movie really moves quick, which some people like, and I liked this movie. Like, this is not at all a boring movie. This is a good movie. But it just had some pacing problems that I personally was just a little bit annoyed by. But that being said, I think that David Cornsweet as Superman is fantastic. Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane, great. And I love Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. He was probably my favorite character in the whole movie. But it just had a little bit of minor pacing problems that really bothered me. And they had a little bit too many characters. Like, when you watch the movie, like, the characters like the Justice Gang, right? They fit into the story, but like, and I love Mr. Terrific. I like Guy Gardner's Green Lantern. But then you have someone like Hawkgirl, like, do we really need... She wasn't really super necessary. Like, let's be honest here. But that being said, I still really liked this movie. I loved Superman, the character, and I loved Lois Lane. I wish there was a little bit more Clark Kent. But that being said, I'm still very excited to see this character again. I'm very excited for the future of the DCU. And I thought this was a really good movie. I just think that some of its pacing problems held it back just a little bit. And coming in at number 1, we have The Fantastic Four, The First Steps. And honestly, this movie really surprised me. I loved the trailers. I really did. But I still went in this movie with just that back thought in my head. I'm like, don't get too excited. Marvel has been disappointing lately. And it has, trust me. I think that Thunderbolts was very overhyped. I thought it was solid, but it was really nothing special. I think that people really overrate that movie. But this movie finally did what I wanted Marvel to do for so long. And that's just take itself seriously for once. This feels like a movie where there is still comedy in this movie. But unlike many other Marvel movies where it feels like the characters have to read jokes and it just ruins the tension, the difference is here, the jokes come from the characters themselves, not the writers, if that makes sense. Like, the comedy feels more natural, and for once the stakes feel real as well as the emotion. Like, in a lot of other Marvel movies, they'll have like some super serious moment and then they'll undercut it with a joke, and it's just like, dude, that's just stupid and cringy. It just takes away all the emotion. But here, when Mr. Fantastic says something genuinely serious and genuinely important, they let it sit. Like, when the people ask him, are we safe? And he says, I don't know. You feel it because there's no stupid joke to undercut it. I really enjoyed all the characters here. I think that Joseph Quinn really blew me away as Johnny Storm, and I was not at all a fan of his casting. Same with Pedro Pascal. I think that he did a really great job as Mr. Fantastic. Although I was very excited for, I did think that Vanessa Kirby would do great as Sue Storm, and she did. And Evan Moss-Bachrach as the Thing, he is great. I love him in The Bear. But I mean, because of just the character of the Thing, I mean, he's just not, he just doesn't really get as much to do. I wish they could, I wish they kind of just did more with him. This kind of, I think, has another little bit of a problem that Superman has. I think it should have been longer, actually, even though I do think this is a better paced movie than Superman. But overall, I just loved all of these characters. They just felt like a real family. And this movie felt like it just had a true vision. And I think that the plot was emotional. Like, the story beats, the characters were great. And even with Silver Surfer, a lot of people were upset when they gender swapped her. But within this movie, it makes sense why they did that. It works. And yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I think that I think that Marvel finally figured out, at least with this movie, like, this is the tone they should be with. Or yes, it can have jokes, but the jokes feel natural and don't undercut the story, and the story and stakes feel real. Yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was great. Who knows, maybe when I watch it again, I'll like it less. I don't know, but I haven't even touched on the retrofuturism. But obviously, this is not a full review of the movie. I just want to just talk on a couple things. Like, the visuals, I also just loved. The characters were great. And yeah, it was definitely my favorite movie of the month. And yeah, that is my ranking for all 3 July 2025 movie releases that I watched, from the worst to the best. Leave a like if you enjoyed this ranking, and comment what was every single movie that you watched this month. Leave your ranking in the comments below. Leave a like if you enjoyed my ranking, and subscribe for more rankings and reviews like this.